Ok, voy a continuar con gramática 7.2 sobre las expresiones indefinidas y negativas, también afirmativas. Empiezo en inglés, que I'm sure, or I hope that many of you have grown up hearing that there are no double negatives in Spanish. Okay. Here, I'm going to tell you, or in English, there's no double negatives in English, but there are double negatives in Spanish. There are two ways to form negative sentences in Spanish. You can place the negative word before the verb. Okay, so for example, nadie se levanta temprano. Ellos nunca gritan. Or you can place no before the verb and have the negative word afterwards, like no se levanta nadie temprano. Ellos no gritan nunca. Okay, so there's two ways when we have a negative word such as nadie or nunca. Okay. Now, because they refer to people, alguien and nadie are often used with the personal a personal. It's also used before alguno, alguna, algunos, algunas, and ninguno, ninguna, when these words refer to people and they happen to be the direct object of the verb. Like, perdón, señor, ¿busca usted a alguien? No, gracias, señorita. No busco a nadie. Or, Tomás, ¿buscas a alguno de tus hermanos? No, mamá, no busco a ninguno. Okay, so we have that a personal with an expression that is indefinite or affirmative, as we see in our questions, alguien, alguno, or negative, nadie, ninguno. Okay. Before a masculine singular noun, alguno and ninguno are actually shortened to algún and ningún, and they carry an accent mark. So, ¿tienen ustedes algún amigo peruano? No, no tenemos ningún amigo peruano. So the alguno and ninguno become shortened. Okay. Pero is used to mean but, and you already know that. But there's also the negative form of that, sino, which is more like but rather, or sometimes we might say on the contrary. It's used when the first part of the sentence is negative and the second part contradicts it. So in the two examples we see, los estudiantes no se acuestan temprano, sino tarde. Okay, so they don't go to bed early, but instead late, or but rather late, or on the contrary, late. Okay, so we're contradicting the temprano and the tarde. María no habla francés sino español. So María doesn't speak French, but instead, but rather, on the contrary, Spanish. So we're contradicting what she speaks. It's not French, but it's Spanish. Okay, and so in those cases, we're going to use sino. Okay, pero is when we actually have something that is positive, not a negative statement, and we're giving more information about something, like las toallas son caras, pero bonitas. So they're expensive, the towels are expensive, but beautiful. Okay, so we're not contradicting them being expensive, we're just adding some more information. José es inteligente, pero no saca buenas notas. So José is intelligent, but he doesn't get good grades. We're not contradicting the fact that he's not intelligent. We're stating he is intelligent, but for whatever reason, more information about him, he does not get good grades. So that's the difference between sino and pero. Okay. I like to look at these expressions in terms of vocabulary. So if we're talking about a thing and it exists, it's algo. ¿Tienes algo en la mochila? And if it doesn't exist, it's nada. No, no tengo nada en la mochila. If we're talking about a person, it's alguien or nadie. So, ¿hay alguien en la clase que habla ruso? O que hable, I'm going to change my example because I can speak a little Russian. ¿Hay alguien en la clase que habla vietnamita? No, no hay nadie que hable vietnamita. ¿Okay? Alguno, alguna, algunos, algunas, or algún can mean some or any. And so their negative forms, ninguno, ninguna, ningún, mean the opposite of none or not any. So, ¿hay algunos gatos en la clase? No, no hay ningún gato en la clase. If you notice, we don't really have a plural of ninguno or ninguna. Now, it does exist, but it's only used when the Spanish word does not have a singular form. Okay, so in my example, hay algunos gatos en la clase. No hay ningún gato, because gato or gatos can be singular, gato. But a word, for example, like vacaciones. ¿Tenemos algunas vacaciones en la primavera de 2 semanas? No, no hay ningunas vacaciones de 2 semanas. Okay, so there we would use ningunas. Okay. We have o or ni. So prefieres o la blusa roja o la blusa verde. No prefiero ni la roja ni la verde. Siempre and nunca or jamás kind of go together. So mi papá siempre va al gimnasio, pero mi mamá nunca o jamás va al gimnasio. También, tampoco kind of go together. So, Maribel juega al golf. Oh, también Tomás juega al golf. But if it's mi mamá no juega al golf, tampoco yo juego al golf. So it has to be negative. Okay, so those are the indefinite or sometimes affirmative versus negative expressions. And again, I like to think of them as more vocabulary, that algo and nada go together, alguien and nadie go together, etc. Also remember, we can have double negatives, like Maribel no juega al tampoco. Yo no juego al golf tampoco. So we have the no and the tampoco, a double negative in the same sentence. Okay? So I hope that helps you understand a little bit about those expressions. We'll practice more in class. Nos vemos en clase.